you start realizing you even don't know where the thoughts are even coming from. They are just happening. There is something happening around you, within you, and thoughts popping up.
Believing that you are your thoughts.
Yeah. And in a way, it starts with all those positive and negative thinking. It's not to blame it or to say there is no use in it to think more positive or negative. But at the end of the day, thoughts are neither positive nor negative. They are just thoughts and they are just happening. So, in a way, trying to control thoughts, you start realizing you even don't know where the thoughts are even coming from. They are just happening. There is something happening around you, within you, and thoughts popping up. It's it's just like you open up Google and there is a automatic search engine putting in all the words. And in a way, this is what's happening in our thought process. Someone is typing in a word, you hit enter, and then things get listed up. This is the thought process, and this is happening all the time. And there is a point where you really see, oh, I'm not this thought. This is just running through, just like watching on the display on your phone or on a computer. And then it gets easy to handle thoughts and to control it because you just allow it to go through. And if there is no resistance, according to your thought process, they will become still by itself because there's a point where thought process is ended in this specific perspective or in this specific situation.
Mm. Mm.
This is where people get stuck. They take their thoughts personally and they think they need to do something with this thought.
Mm. And the trying to control the thoughts, and like your thoughts are actually never going to stop. It doesn't
No.
matter how enlightened or meditative you become, you start to realize that, like, I still have thoughts. The thousands of thoughts a second are happening. And then the question is, though, do I react to every single thought that comes up? Do I believe and identify by that thought? And there's a line in Doctor Strange that I'll paraphrase, that the Sorcerer Supreme says, and she says, well, we don't overcome our demons, we learn to live above them. And even though it is just a quote from a movie, it's actually really, really true. Like, you don't overcome your thoughts. You don't overcome any experience. You learn to live above it. And that is, to me at least, what the effect of meditation. Yeah. Of being able to be with that. And over time, your mind might get distracted in the beginning and get pulled into all the thoughts, and then you become aware of that. I was working with a client and he was having some issues with smoking, and he really wanted to stop smoking. And I said to him, well, smoke. And he's like, what? I thought you were going to tell me, like, how do I stop smoking? And I said, have you ever really, like, smoked that cigarette and really been present with it? Because I know I don't feel any desire whatsoever to pick up a cigarette, because I actually have a memory of when I was younger and the taste was terrible. And then so I go, so smoke, but just really be present with the experience, just for one cigarette, with the taste, with the smell, with everything. Take it in. And so he smoked that cigarette and he said, you know what? I actually don't even like doing it. And he just stopped because he'd never taken the time to actually be with what he was doing. Like, it was just a way to distract himself, to give a certain feeling. But then as soon as he realized what he was doing, as soon as he could see, then he had a choice, rather than then the cigarette was his boss controlling him. So he didn't try and control the addiction. He learned to look above it and then see and choose something different that was more aligned with his values, which in this case was health.
Yeah. And you can do this with anything. Like if you're feeling addicted to caffeine, yeah, just become aware of what's really happening when you put in a lot of caffeine in your body,
Yeah.
or sugar or alcohol. Just become aware of, in a way, Benny shared with the example with smoking. When you feel what your body is signaling you, you realize, okay, this is shit. And everyone, at least I remember back when I first started drinking alcohol in yeah, as a teenager, the first thing, it was terrible. The same with caffeine. The natural intelligence of the body is telling you in that moment, stop it. But then we overwrite it with our thought patterns. Oh no, this is a good thing. Everyone is doing it,
Everyone's doing it. I belong. Yeah.
and then we start to override the natural intelligence of our body and disconnect. It's in a way a perfect example of how things how disconnection is happening, and the body was reacting totally different.